Well, hey everyone, Dr. Sherry Keffer here again, and it's good to be with you. I just was thinking before I started today is I just hope that some of what I've been bringing to you in that you're feeling just seen and heard. I know for so long I wandered without any direction, and I think even without anybody really understanding what I was going through. And so I just want you to know I'm glad you're here. I'm sorry you're here under these circumstances, but I'm really glad that I get to connect with your heart. And hopefully you get to feel seen today, especially with what we're talking about today in this Facebook Live. It's sexual betrayal and the lies we believe because we get hooked, right? And, we got two things that are going on. We get hooked in the lies that they're trying to do. There's lots of things we're going to be talking about today. But our sneaky brain also wires in these negative beliefs about ourselves in order to protect us. The brain is really the most selfish organ in the body. It's trying to keep you safe. And so lies about ourselves is one way that it's trying to do that. So thanks for joining me. And I want to just say thanks for those who've been listening to me on these Facebook Lives or even my Dr. Sherry Keffer YouTube channel. You might be here today because someone really cares about you. Like they care a whole lot. They felt like you told them enough of your story for them to say, hey, I know somebody who can help you. And that might be that they had to be vulnerable with a part of their story in order to share that with you. I want to say hello to our first timers, right? Brave first timers. Truly, you are incredibly courageous, and I'm really proud of you for just showing up today. And I also want to say a quick hello to my Brave One community. Hey, gang. Love you guys. They're here and they have a place where I get to connect with them on a personal level. And but I want to just say thank you to yourselves for your willingness just to connect with those of us here that get it. And I'm going to be sharing today about sexual betrayal and the lies we believe. So this is a Facebook Live and it's a public format. So I'd love to answer questions. I'm going to be doing a Q&A at the end and I'll try to get to as many questions as I can. And then if there's something that you want to ask me, you can also just, private message me on Facebook and then I will get to your question as well if I can. But you guys might be even sharing at this point, why do I care? Why do I care so much about all of this? And why do I have a special place for you and your family in my heart? The bottom line is, it happened to me too. I understand and personally experienced the pain of sexual betrayal through pornography, through affairs, multiple affairs, and prostitutes. And the pain of all type of sexual deception hurts us. And I'm going to be sharing more about that today. But first, I'm going to just tell you a little bit about my training. So I'm a doctor of marriage and family therapy. I've been doing that for 22 years. I'm also a certified partner trauma therapist, and I'm a supervisor at that. So that means I have the opportunity of training other therapists and coaches and clergy and those kind of things. Now, I'm also a certified sex addiction therapist. So that's no small feat. What does that mean? That means I had to go deep into the world of understanding what it is that's going on underneath those that are sexually acting out. And it freaked me out, to be honest, for a while. I was like, I don't know if I want to know any more about what they're thinking. But what I realized is I needed to bring us more. I didn't really understand it myself. I was too scared until I garnered my courage. And now that I've worked with those who compulsively sexually act out, I have a different lens because I can see the lens as I simply work with those who are sexually acting out. And then, of course, I work with us that have been sexually betrayed. I'm the author of the book, Intimate Deception, Healing the Wounds of Sexual Betrayal. It's been out for 4 years or so. And if you haven't gotten a copy of this, I suggest you pick it up or just even read on Amazon. What are some of the things that people have said about it? Most tell me, like, I couldn't believe that you were saying what I was feeling. Well, it's because I've been there, right? So let's go into sexual betrayal and the lies we believe. And there's basically there's a lot of lies, but let me just talk about four main lies that are common for many of us that have experienced sexual betrayal. So the first lie is, I'm crazy. You might have thought that a handful of times or more, right? And this came out of my hunch in working with sexually betrayed partners, where I asked them through my research two questions. I said, even though both of these are horribly painful, which of these two things feels more damaging to you? Is it A, the knowledge of the sexual acting out, right? Whatever it is that they've done, the behaviors, once you know what they've done, A, or is it the continued patterns of lies that have continued to happen after you found out about the one that was sexually acting out, or even before? Like, is it the lies or the things? So guess what we said? 65% of us said it's the continued patterns of lies. That's the majority of us. And I'm talking, these are women who've experienced pornography, emotional affairs, multiple affairs, topless bars, massage parlors, illegal sexual activity, prostitutes, the whole gamut. There was everything that was included. And so this is deception trauma. It's the lies that this person, I trusted most, lied again and again and again. And then there's something called gaslighting. So gaslighting came from a 1944 movie called Gaslight. And it was basically a movie about a guy that marries the niece of an aunt. The aunt died. She had a lot of money. And so he married the niece in order to get the family inheritance. Well, he's up in the attic looking around, trying to find some things to take of hers. And guess what happens? He is turning the lights on and off. They start turning on and off downstairs where she was. And she's like, that's really weird. So he comes down the stairs and she asks him about it. And you know what he does? He looks at her and says, I'm not sure what you've been talking about. You've not been feeling well lately. So his goal was to get her put in an insane asylum so that he would have full reign of the house. Okay. Gaslighting occurs when someone strategically twists the truth to make you believe you're crazy or something is wrong with you in order to hide whatever it is that they're doing over here, their deceptive behavior. They'll tell you things like this, and I want you to see that it's about you. Gaslighting is always about you. So it's, you're crazy. You need help. It's always something with you. You're overreacting and you need to calm down. Now, how many of us have had something like that said, and all of a sudden I have this little Coke bottle in my office. It's like, I need to calm down. Like we go from 0 to 100 in a New York minute. That's because gaslighting is psychological abuse, and their aim is to make you doubt yourself because it works for them. Like you take the bait, and then they're over to, they're hiding what they're doing. And so then we get mad, and then they even make it about us because we're mad. Gaslighting, because of it being psychological abuse, erodes your gut instincts. It actually destroys your intuition. So I want you to know it's okay to stand in your story. It's healthy for you to value your own viewpoint, your own opinion. I mean, even siblings have different versions of the same story. And guess what? The truth is, your mind and your opinions are 100% yours. Like no one can take them away from you. There's some empowering one-liners that can help you respectfully disagree. It might sound something like this. If someone's gaslighting you, well, that's interesting. That's not how I remember it. Or, I don't remember saying it that way. Or, we may have to agree to disagree on this one, right? There's something where you can just hold on to you. And I want to tell you, if all you remember from today is this, I want to tell you, you're not crazy, but crazy is happening around you, right? So if you have a question, I'd love to answer it. Just put it in the chat. Again, this is a public format, so I'm hoping to get to as many as I can. So the second lie is, I'm stupid. Janice said this, I'm so stupid. How could I have missed that he's been having an affair with my next door neighbor? Now, that might be replaced for your best friend or a boss, or maybe even your sister-in-law. And then some of us, Paige was a woman that said, I must be really stupid for wanting to stay with him. There's so much shame for those of us that are choosing to stay. We have shame over that. Even we might wonder, what will people think? And then we even ask ourselves, am I disrespecting myself at staying after all he's done? A lot of shame. Sometimes there may be these little inklings that you might feel, these checks in our gut that you notice. You might watch them when they're inappropriately touching somebody, or there's this forensic energy when certain females get around. And I know betrayal can happen to both men and women. So it might be the opposite. If you're here as a betrayed male, you might be going, oh yeah, when certain people come around, my wife just lights up like a Christmas tree, like when before we were dating. Um, there might be affair partners that actually came to your home or went on vacations with you. There might be a lot of sexual innuendos that they throw out, all these things. And what we try to do is we try to tell ourselves, I'm not the jealous type. Some of us even shame ourselves. And I hear this so often. We say things like, well, I don't want to be a detective. And I'm saying, you're not a detective, right? And we're like, but I'm not that person. Yet, what are we supposed to do when someone is choosing to deceive us? It's like our intuition is knocking on our door and we don't even trust ourselves at that point. Or let's just say you get really brave and you're brave enough to say something about what you've discovered. And then when you do, you're blamed, you're mocked, you're belittled, and you're just bull-faced lied to. Michelle said this to me. He swore. He swore to me. There was not anything else, that I knew everything. And she said, was I stupid to have believed him? Painfully, there's a high level of deceit. They're hiding what they've been doing. And so you can ask and ask and ask, and they lie to cover up what they don't want you to know. The truth is, you're not stupid. You've been duped. You've been lied to. You've been betrayed. You've been misled, deceived. The wool has been pulled over your eyes, right? We don't know what we don't know. And to be honest, we can't see what we don't see. So I've got a download today that is really going to help you with this. It's going to calm your heart and I think help you get your truth back on. So stay till the end and I'll make sure you get it. Now, the third lie that we believe is it's my fault. Yep. There's something I coulda, shoulda, woulda done, right? It's my fault. And we all have these thoughts like, I should have done something. Maybe if I was sexier. And I've heard so many of us say, maybe if I would have just said yes to some of the sexual things that he was pressuring me to do, that I didn't really want to do. Well, guess what? Many of them, and I would say most of them, have a pornified mind. They've been looking at porn and it changes their perspective. They start seeing the world through this pornified filtered glasses. And so they might make demands or have expectations on you. And you might feel like you have to change yourself just to be with them. We might tell ourselves, if I was just 30 pounds lighter, or if I had bigger breasts, or maybe if I spent more time with him, maybe if I hadn't yelled at him, right? And he might even say, well, it's because you yell at me. That's gaslighting, right? Maybe if you had gone on more dates with him. And then this is what even hurts more is so there's helping people, there's treatment professionals, there's well-meaning counselors and clergy and recovery groups and even family members that start to speak into what we need to do. And they're the first ones to weigh in, right? They might just say, you need to wear more lingerie or you need to forgive him, right? Love him. And, he'll move forward with you. You need to be more attentive. If you weren't so focused on the kids, all these reasons, right? But the truth of it is, and I hope you remember me saying this today too, if there were vulnerabilities in the relationship, marriage is tough. There's all kinds of things that go on. But there's absolutely nothing. There's not one thing. There's not one thing in the whole world that warrants somebody sexually betraying you. There's nothing. If the one who betrayed you would have reached out for help, if they would have come to you and said, "Hey, I'm dying over here, help me out," right? So that we could do something about it. But they have a lot of choices. They have choices and they've made choices. And and so commonly they act out, and then they might even tell you that somehow it was your fault. You didn't want to do the sexual things that I wanted to do, or I needed more respect and you weren't respecting me, or I felt bored. We don't talk at all. Again, it's all about you. I think back to what happened with Connor, and I was in a counseling session, and we were going to counseling 3 times a week. We were seeing a therapist together as a couple, and then we were both going to individual therapy. And there was a lot of hiding and deception that happened in that place. One day, Connor revealed in the session that he pulled away. We were talking about why he was uncomfortable with me holding his hand or nibbling on his ear, or, some of those things. And he said, it was because I talked so much with my hands. And then I did this ticking noise when I was on the phone with my mouth. Like, there was 2 things. And if you guys have watched me for any amount of time, I talk with my hands. It's just what I do. But he was saying that that was basically making him like feel more repulsed or not as attractive to me. Okay. What I didn't know is he was acting out with prostitutes. There was affairs going on. I didn't know that. So what do you think I did as a good spouse that was trying to stop what was going on in our marriage? I literally sat on my hands. Yeah, I would sit on my hands. I would sit on my hands at home. I would sit on my hands in session. I'm even surprised I don't have a permanent dent from doing that, right? I wrap myself up like a pretzel to keep Connor from doing the things that he was doing. So what's really going on in their head, right? Their mind? Let me unpack that. Self-deception plus sexual entitlement. Those 2 things, they're deceiving themselves too. There's a lot of crazy making going on. There's blame, there's lies, there's self-deception. And so I want you to know one thing today. It's not your fault. The 4th lie that many of us believe is I'm alone. I'm alone and I can't tell anyone about what's going on. When I do retreats and I reach out and we basically, I'm working on shame beliefs to help women, walk away from these lies that their brain is wired in because of the trauma and replace it with truth. So this is Rocio, and this is what she said. My body was never beautiful enough to catch and to keep his attention, that he had to lust after other women but me. Do you hear that lie? Or I'm not worth being faithful to. It's my fault that my husband strayed. You know what her name is? Grace. Like, she's giving herself no grace. She's blaming herself for what happened. And then there was a woman came that said, I'm old and unworthy, right? She didn't even put her name on it. She felt so unseen and unloved. So shame makes us want to hide. And there's 3 things that grow shame. This is according to Brene Brown. Like, she's a national shame researcher. Most of us have heard of her or know her or read her books. But she says there's 3 things that grow shame: secrecy, silence, and judgment. Now, there is an antidote to shame. What is that? It's empathy. Empathy is, you're not alone. I know. It happened to me too. I feel understood. I feel validated. I feel safe. I don't have to scream anymore trying to get someone to understand. So my goal is to gather us together to help you get your truth back on, to help restore sanity in your world, and to help you get your dignity back. I want to help you figure out what to do with this whole mess, what to do with the crazy making, and stop what's happening to you. I truly believe that we're stronger together, and I've seen that with my own eyes. And I want you to know I have a proven path that I've used with thousands of women to help them make changes in their life and in their home. I'm going to be telling you more about it tomorrow. And so I don't want you to miss that. I want to help you change in the best sort of way possible, right? So tomorrow there's a live private workshop. It's private this time. It's not something I'm going to be doing publicly. And it's called Sexual Betrayal. You have the right to say enough is enough. I'm going to be covering topics like this. How do you know when someone's lying? Or what, 100%, I can actually say this is 100%. There's two things that the one who's deceiving you counts on in order to cover up what they're doing over here. There's two things, but you'll have to come tomorrow to hear me talk about it. Then I'm going to be revealing what are 8 great signs of real change. Everybody always asks me, how do I know if the one I'm with is changing? And I go, okay, come tomorrow. I'm going to be talking about the 8 great signs of real change. And then we're going to be talking about setting boundaries so that you can feel safe in your own home and secure. And there's so much more, but you can register today. Right? Today is the last full day, and tomorrow morning you can sign up for my workshop. And where you do that is you go to braveone.com/join workshop. It's braveone.com/join workshop, JOINWORKSHOP. And so right now I'm going to give you the gift just for registering, but tomorrow again is my workshops. You don't want to wait to sign up. Sign up today. It's called Sexual Betrayal. You have the right to say enough is enough. And just for signing up, you're going to get another free gift from me that you'll be really grateful that you signed up for to get it. And I'm going to be doing it tomorrow live, Wednesday, April 19th. 2 times. So I'll be doing it at 12 noon Pacific time, and I'll be doing another one at 6 p.m. Because I know some of us have kids, we work, we do all kinds of stuff. And I wanted to make sure that I gave opportunity for you to join me in the daytime at 12 noon p.m. Pacific time or 6 p.m. Now you can come to one or both, whatever you decide. So now the practical tool I'm going to give you that is going to really help you calm your heart. And it's really a way that I want to help you get your truth back on, because it's important that you know what's true. So if you want this very practical tool, all you have to do is sign up right now. Just go to braveone.com/4 truths. It's the number 4 and then the word truths. It's braveone.com/, the number 4 and then TRUTHS. And that will be on your way. So I've got some great news, some exciting news for you tomorrow. I don't want you to be stuck. I don't want you to be in fear. I don't want you to not have a roadmap, because I have designed one that is working. And so I want to give you that and talk to you about that tomorrow. But right now, I'd love to answer some questions that some of you may have after you heard me talk today, right? All right, so here's the first question is, sometimes I wonder if something is really wrong with me. I forget simple things and can't seem to remember the basics. When I do like this, he uses them against me to point out something is wrong with me. I'm starting to believe it. How do I combat that? How do I know what's actually true? First off, I want to tell you, I'm so stinking proud of you that you're here. Because remember when I was talking about gaslighting and how it just either sends us to the moon or it sends us in the moon and it turns our brain into mush? Because really you're forced to make a decision about one of two things. Am I going to trust what I'm intuiting, or am I going to trust my spouse or significant other? You have to pick. It's not an option. And that can really spin us like a top, and it can turn our brain into mush. So please come hear me tomorrow. I have so much more for you. I want to help you get your truth back on, your core strength, so that you can stay out of the crossfire of all that crazy making. Here's another question. So what do I require of my husband for his sex addiction when we literally have no money for either of us for counseling? I just want you to know, girl, you're not alone. We do not live in an area with groups specifically for us. I required him to go to our pastor to tell him about the most recent porn discovery and a short recap of his sexual acting out over 21 years of marriage. Our pastor just recommended a Celebrate Recovery group, and that is all the help that we received. There's so much more for you. So much more for you. Okay, so I'm going to keep reading your question. I am sure he doesn't know what else to recommend, but I feel lost. And that's probably true. Honestly, there are so many pastors that don't know what resources are out there. I am sure Celebrate Recovery can be helpful, but I know that that alone won't help. When I suggest therapy, he asks, how can we pay for it? We live below poverty level. We go further into debt each month just to buy food. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I'm homeschooling. So I see no hope for real help. Where else can we get the help we need? P.S. My husband said he wants to be free of sexual addiction. Well, that is a good sign, which he has said repeatedly for 21 years. Okay, so that's not a good sign, right? I mean, he's telling you I want to be free, but he is stuck. And he's either stuck or he's just hoping that you'll hang on, and he's not really serious about his work. But let me just believe the best about him for a minute. So he's in Celebrate Recovery. I'm going to finish reading this and I'll come back. I already have like 3 or 4 things for you guys. But he has read Every Man's Battle in the past and other books, but he still went on to have affairs and even live with another woman for 2 years. Okay, girl, he's not being honest with you about how much he wants to change. He has always been very active in church and on the outside. Everyone loves him and no one knows the extent of his acting out. He loves to tell everyone about his leaving for 2 years and how I am just a wonderful woman to take him back and how right he is with God. All right. So, couple things. First off, anywhere in the world, he can join an SA recovery group. It's sex addiction. SA is sex addiction recovery. If you go to SA, it's either sa.org, could be SA or SAA, but I just want you to know they're virtual, they're online. You might even find one, even though you live in more of a remote area, that is face-to-face, because they're everywhere. But because recovery, 12-step recoveries are all volunteer, it's like kind of this hidden world. There's nobody that's going to sit at home all day and just answer calls. So once you get in to either a virtual space or a face-to-face group, you'll also hear about other groups in the area. The other thing that I want to tell you is, will you come tomorrow? Will you come tomorrow just to listen to what I have? And if you're really struggling, I will look at getting you a scholarship, even if it's a partial scholarship. I want to see what I can do to help you get in. We have lots of moms that are a part of in my community that have special needs kids, have multiple kids that are in remote area. And guess what? They're getting help. So it's like, put your own oxygen mask on, girl. There's more for you. And I want to help connect you to all those resources. So please join me tomorrow at my workshop. And then this will be the last question. So if none of this is my fault, then how does it take two? Oh, yeah, I get it. If none of this is my fault, then how does it takes two apply? I feel like there's actually some things I need to do better. How do I know he wouldn't have cheated on me if I had made the changes sooner? Okay, you know how I know this? This is what happens when you've been doing this for 22 years and it's your story, and you find out things like I found out things about Connor that I didn't know were going on. So when we're looking at disclosures, and this is a conversation that goes well beyond this right now, this talk today, but in 100% of the therapeutic full disclosures that I've done, 100% of them, the acting out started out before that person was in a relationship with you. Because it starts when they're kids. It starts when they find their dad's Pornhub or Playboys or whatever, and they start looking at it earlier. So there, it's not it takes two. And I usually just ask somebody and I say, okay, well, maybe if somebody is sexually acting out and there's a couple that comes and it's like, we're both sexually acting out. We're both looking at pornography. We're really in a bad state. Okay, then there's two people that are really needing to address the non-consensual sexual acting out. But I guarantee you, if you were to know what had happened before you were in a relationship with him, it would make a lot of sense as to why the sexual behaviors are going on now. And that's why I can say with confidence, it's not about you. It's about what they have been involved in for a very long time. So I really want to invite you guys to come to my workshop. It's tomorrow. Don't miss it, right? It's called Sexual Betrayal. You have the right to say enough is enough. I'm going to be doing it tomorrow. You can sign up today and tomorrow morning. I want to make sure you get all the goods before you go in. We've got some stuff we want to give you that's free. And so sign up. My first one's going to be tomorrow, April 19th at 12 p.m. And then the second one's going to be at 6 p.m. Pacific time, 12 noon Pacific time. And you can come to one or both. I'm going to be answering questions at both of them. And it's private. It's going to be live. So it's behind the iron curtain. And oftentimes it gives people a lot of freedom to ask questions they wouldn't ask in a public format. So I care about you very much. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow at the workshop. So don't miss it. And I'll look forward to seeing you then.